Coming up next, actually, you're gonna like these guys, Astroal. They're very unique. They were on my show a few weeks back, and they're really cool people. They put on one hell of a performance. You really have to have a really open mind and appreciation for music to really appreciate these two. And if they're watching the show, when you get in touch with William Shatner, let me know.
Hello, you're watching Sal's show on MATV, and we're Astroal. Unfortunately for you, you're not. Thank you, Chevy Chase. Anyways, this one is an oldie, but a not-so-goodie, and it's from our first Astroal CD called 420, and it's called A Wild Chicken Blues, and it's all about, well, the story will tell itself. So here we go. Hello, my name is Dirk Tough Guy. Now, I want to tell you the story of my life, so let me tell it. Why don't you all gather around your TV sets and I'll explain it. You see, I was raised by animals. Now, I know some of you think that must be really cool and exotic to be raised by animals, like that kid who was raised by wolves in France. Or by, like, that guy who was raised by apes in Africa. You know, the guy who swings in the vine with the loincloth? And I don't mean Ted Nugent. No. Unlike those guys, I wasn't raised by a really cool animal. I wasn't raised by cougars. I wasn't raised by panthers. I wasn't raised by bears. I was raised by chickens. Wild chickens. You see, it went down like this. When I was a wee little baby, my parents took us and went out for a drive. And they went driving through the woods, and they found this Kentucky Fried sort of chickeny sort of establishment. And it was run by that guy, you know, the goatee and the southern sort of thing. He's kind of creepy, and he likes to dance around in an animated form. And some people say he's dead, but he probably really isn't. Well, anyhow, my parents stopped at this fast food eatery, pulled in, and went inside. Now, little did my parents know that earlier in the day, this fast food restaurant had been taken over by chickens. You see, the chickens had snuck in, cleverly disguised as 12-piece buckets, and then they killed the fast food employees. Then, they decided to get real revenge on humans for serving them up, and they cut the fast food employees up, fried them up, and served them to the customers. Now, you might be saying to yourself, wait a minute, Dirk Strong Guy. What about these? Why didn't the customers notice that the chickens were serving them humans? Well, I'll tell you, most people don't pay attention to fast food employees, so no one noticed. It went on for hours, and no one noticed. And it would have probably gone on for days, and no one would have noticed. But the whole problem is, someone decided to ask for directions. So they had to pay attention to the employees. And the chickens, well, they're not very good with directions, so the jig was up. So, what happened? Well, the humans were outraged, so they attacked the chickens. And the chickens, of course, they were ready for a fight because, you know, they had already attacked the humans, so they fought back. It was fist against claw, feather against foot, pecker against, well, you know. So anyways, so this fight went on for hours and back and forth, and who knew which side was going to win? And when the dust finally settled, the blood was all spilled and the feathers fell, all the humans were dead, except for one, and most of the chickens were still quite alive. Seems chickens are really tough. I tell you, they'll take down humans anytime. So, the one human left alive was, of course, me, the baby me. The chickens saw me and they thought maybe they should destroy me, but my head was very egg-shaped at the time, so they thought it was some sort of sign. So they decided to raise me as their own. So they took me off into the wild to raise me. Now you might think it would be cool being out in the wild, being raised by chickens, and not having to pay taxes, not having to go to work. But you know, scratching for the ground for worms is tough, let me tell you. Fleas, you get fleas out there, ticks, you get ticks out there, you get all sorts of bad stuff out there. And you know, the worst thing is all the other animals make fun of you. They don't care that you killed, you know, the chickens have killed so many people. They don't care at all. They come over and make fun of you. You know, like, especially the pigs, because the pigs, they're all like, hey, I don't even have to attack humans. I just make this flu and that attacks people for me. So they don't care. They make fun of us. So it was a pretty miserable life. Until one day, a team of industrial hygienists were out in the woods, and they were traveling around, and they saw me and decided to bring me back to human society because they recognized me despite the fact that I was all covered in chicken feathers that I held on me with tree sap and spit. So they took me and introduced me into human society. And I was on all the talk shows. I was on that Opal, whatever her name is. I was on all the shows. Sure, it was a big, big deal. And I made lots of money at first. But, you know, the thing about fame is it fades. And I faded away. Now, eventually I was relegated to the sideshow circuit. And I would have been okay there, doing stuff like that, but I got caught eating a chicken sandwich, and cannibalism, it just isn't really cool. I thought it might have been, but it wasn't. So I got kicked off the sideshow circuit. So now I'm a fast food employee at a special restaurant that caters to men, but at least I've got the legs for it.
Thank you.
That was great.
Astroal, my God, Astroal. You know, they were on the show a few weeks ago, and we ragged them. And I know with last time they were on Sal's show, we kind of teased them a little bit. But they came on Bottoms Up a little while back, and I kind of try to smooth things over with them. I kind of like apologized, but they were really cool about it. And
That's
they
great.
actually
Yeah.
have a great sense of humor, and it shows them what they do. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy that they're back on Sal's show.
Yeah.
So we get to tease them a little bit more again.
They do a great job. Thanks,
really
guys,
do.
for coming back.
Thanks.